I rank where the view is nothing less than phenomenal. For how I express and project from my abdominal. The only view better, both my daddy and my mama know. No living parents, my sons give me balance. My wife is my serenity, this mic is my identity. The world is foul enough, that's why I write without obscenities. Provoking danger with broken language and spoken anguish. Begging to get hurt, why would you ask to go through changes? Yes, Lord, life's a chessboard, master the angles. Control the tempo, be the one who holds the info. Acknowledge is just as deadly as machete swings. When spoken, the truth is as potent as that Medellin. While others swear the style is free, I just let it ring. Our time is undervalued, soldiers make us better kings. My fans on my shoulder, reaching after better things. Today I take the shot, for them I'd rather set the screen.
My mama told me follow my dreams. My daddy told me get it by any means. Stand tall, make him bow to a king. But I've evolved, you can see the resolve. Look in my eyes when you speaking to God.
Life and for those who we caught up in using what I was taught with the muse. I guess they call it proving I'm more than an artist. Penciling out my darkest while stenciling out a harvest. And storing what gets me from A to B, just like garages. Instrumental with collages. Envision what I've been drawing. Broadway to give you rhythm like the great Lena Horne. So bent on, found comfort in the storm. Find peace and on when you see them others perform. Organized chaos, I'll cast it like hey ya.
Yo, party people in the place to be. What's good? It's your man, Uncle Freezy. Welcome. Welcome to the Knicks Morning Drive. Welcome to the Knicks Morning Drive, man. I got a lot of stuff that I want to talk to y'all about, right? A lot of stuff. I'm talking about legit stuff, man. Got a lot of legit stuff that I want to talk to y'all about, man, because there are a lot of things flying around in Knicks universe. And I kind of want to put some more reasonable thought in Knicks universe, right? Not that I feel like what I have is better, but I just feel like we need to think about stuff a little bit differently. Tony Spark, what's up? What's good? Jay Busby's in the building. Pudge Nice, what's good with you, boss? What's good with you? Mike Boy is in the building. What's good? What's good with y'all, man? What's good with y'all? So I want to put some more. I want to add to the conversation, man. That's what I'm getting at. I want to add to the conversation because there are a lot of things floating around in Knicks universe, and I want to add to that conversation because I don't know if everything that we talk about is fair or is correct for that matter. D'Angelo, what's good? I want to add some other stuff, right? So want to add some other things to the conversation, man. Right? Want to add some things to the conversation. So for one, let me start by showing y'all something. I want to show y'all something. Take a look at this and tell me what y'all think. So I want to get y'all opinion on that. What first comes to your mind when you see that the Knicks had a dominant scoring defense against in regards to, yeah, Jermaine Royster, what's good? So what do y'all think when y'all saw that in 2020, the Knicks had a dominant defense, right? The Knicks had a dominant defense in 2022. I'm sorry, in 2020, 2021. Right? Now, with that said, what do y'all think about this? That stupid slide came across wrong. So the Knicks this year had a defense of 106.6, right? We went from 104.7 to 106.6, but the league average just about stayed the same. I don't know, that slide came across wrong. Let me delete that. I think I'm gonna scrap the slide stuff for right now. I'm gonna scrap the slide stuff right now and just talk to y'all. Right. So in the 2021-2022 season, the New York Knicks allowed 106.5 points per game. Right? Right? 106.5 points per game. It's not bad. It's probably really, really good. Oh, wait a minute. Let me make sure I get that right. The Knicks allowed 106.6 points per game. I'm sorry. 106.6 points per game. Right? Jay Busby says their problem this year was them closing out games, especially close games. I don't know if I agree. I think that's what it appeared to be. I think that's what it appeared to be. Right? I think that's what it appeared to be. And here's why I say that. Here's why I say that. And I ain't throwing shade. I'm just saying this is why I say it appeared to be that. What happens is overall, for the most part, the Knicks in this 2-year stretch have been pretty relatively consistent defensively throughout the season. Sure, there were seasons we started slow, like in 2020, we started slow and got better. We were great at the end of the year. In 2021, we started slow and we were great at the end of the year. So when you do things 2 times in a row, that's some kind of measure of consistency, right? If you do it 2 times in a row, even though it's a small sample size. Well, Tibbs has only been here 2 years, right? What I'm gonna get to, yo, Al, what's good? What's good? What I'm gonna get to, yo, Jay Boogie, what's good? What's good? What's good? Jay Boogie in the building. Okay. So I also looked up the offensive numbers. Let me give you the offensive numbers, right? And before just hear me out on the offensive numbers and such, right? So in the 2022 season, the Knicks scored 106.5 points a game, right? The league leader was the Minnesota Timberwolves at 115.9. They made the playoffs. The second team was the Memphis Grizzlies. They scored 115.6. They made the playoffs. The Milwaukee Bucks averaged 115.5. They made the playoffs. Charlotte scored 115.3. They made the play-in. Phoenix scored 114.8. They made the playoffs. Atlanta scored 113.9. They made the playoffs. Utah averaged 113.6. They made the playoffs, right? That's 7 teams. San Antonio scored 113.2. They didn't. Brooklyn averaged 112.9. They made the playoffs. Denver averaged 112.7. They made the playoffs. So of the top 10 scorers, 90% of the teams that can flat out score make the playoffs. Right? Teams that score make the playoffs. Right? Teams that score make the playoffs for the most part. 90% of the teams that finished in the top 10 made the playoffs. Right? So, so Bimmer Jazz, we don't know what the draft pick is right now. We're assuming that we're going to be in that 11 range. The NBA draft lottery is not until May 17th. Right? We'll find out for sure on May 17th what our draft position is. Right? We'll find out for sure at that time. Right? So, right now we're just cruising along until that day comes. Right? Right? So here's the thing. I want to speak to what teams gave up defensively, right? So and this is this season, right? In 2022 to 2022 season, Boston is 1, they made the playoffs. Dallas was 2 in opposition scoring. They made the playoffs. Golden State was 3. They made the playoffs. Miami was 4. They made the playoffs. Cleveland was 5. They made the playoffs. The Knicks were 6th, did not make the playoffs. Toronto was 7th. They made the playoffs. Philly was 8. They made the playoffs. Phoenix was 9. They made the playoffs. And Utah was 10. They made the playoffs. Right? Right? So what I'm getting at is this. How far away are the Knicks from making the playoffs? And is just making the playoffs our goal? I'm asking you, chat, what's the ultimate goal? Is it making the playoffs or is it being a contender? I'm going to send out the word. Send out the bat signal. So as a Knicks fan, what do you want? Do you just want to make the playoffs? Are you satisfied being a Atlanta Hawks? Are you satisfied being a first round contending team? Or do you want to contend for the long term? And if that is your question, then the next question to that and the problem solving process is, well, how do we get to where we want to be and have it be sustainable? How do we get to contention status and stay there? That's the question. Right? How do we get to contention status and stay there? Right? Well, Well, I would say this. If you want to be a contender long term, you have to shore up some issues that plague this team, not historically, but right now. Right? If you want to be a contender going forward, we can't keep asking ourselves the old question. So if you want to solve what's going on right now, the question, we shouldn't be asking ourselves the old question. Right? Hold on for a split. We can't keep asking ourselves the old question. How come we can't find a point guard? Well, that question is not relevant right now. Right? The question should be, how do we make our offense more how do we make our offense and defense more efficient right now? How do we become more efficient right now? Right? Because okay. All right. Thank you. All right. Oh, that ain't nothing anyway. Okay. So the question should not be, how come we can't sign free agents? The question should be, how do we fix what's wrong with the team right now? Like, the question shouldn't be, how come we keep blowing leads during games? The question should be something more like, how can we stop losing streaks? So, right, because that's what kills us, right? Not the fact that you blow a lead in a game. That ain't nothing. Teams are gonna make runs, but what you don't want to do is lose 5, 6, 7 in a row, right? How does your team react when they get smacked in the mouth? Do they get up off the canvas? Right? See, these are the questions that I would like to have us talk about, have us answer. Forbes' Phil is in the building. Like, for instance, y'all know this for a fact. Teams have so much talent that there are going to be games where the game just get away from you and there's nothing you can do. Morocco Joe was in the building. What's good, boss? Eating chickpea chicken and broccoli. Man, listen. So anyway, yeah, what's going to happen is teams during the course of a season, teams are going to go on a run, and you won't be able to stop them, right? Teams are going to go on a run. You won't be able to stop them, man. For instance, teams like a Sacramento Kings are going to catch lightning in a bottle against a team, and all their shots are going to fall, and you're going to wonder how Sacramento beat the Phoenix Suns. It happens, man. It happens, right? 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 Those things are going to happen. What we need to do is find out how to pick ourselves up off the mat. And we hadn't found out how to do that yet. And that's a leadership issue. That's a leadership issue, right? Because right now, one of the best teams in the league is the Boston Celtics, right? The Boston Celtics right now are playing like one of the best teams in the league, right? They are. But what they learned how to do is pick themselves off the mat after they lose. That's what they learned how to do. Like you lose, you play a team, you lose it in a bad way. Well, there's a game tomorrow. What Knicks fans have done and the Knicks organization is blow a lead, stew on it, lose another game to somebody you shouldn't have lost to, and then it turns into a snowball effect. Let me put this thing out here for my man and put my things, put the link out there. Yeah, man, I've been trying to do this healthy thing for a while. Everybody around me is eating fantastically, if that's a word. Everybody around me is Philly cheesesteak and fries, and I have chickpea chicken, like it's vegan chicken made out of chickpea and broccoli. This is what it looked like. Yeah, man. Yeah, man. So here's the thing. Here's the thing. None of us disagree that the Knicks have talent on this roster, right? What we disagree on is how we are going to. Jason, come on, you said. Jason is like, yeah, come on, man, stay focused. Yeah, I'm focused, man. I got a lot of stuff, man. I'm gonna get to. Just stay with me, man. Just stay with me. Hey, and Jason, listen. I'm excited to hear your answer. I asked the chat 3 different questions, and nobody put a response in the chat. Right? I legit asked 3 questions, and nobody responded. So I'm waiting on some of those too. You know what I mean? So the thing is, our team is a young team, right? Teams going. We lost the Minnesota game. Remember the game in January where we had Minnesota on the ropes? Minnesota looked like they wanted to fold the tent and go home, and we folded our tent faster at the Garden. Right? Remember that game? All we had to do was have somebody step up in that game, and that's one more game in the win column. You remember the Charlotte game? The Charlotte game in the Garden? We had Charlotte on the ropes. They didn't have any answers, and we let them off. And so what I'm getting at is not that we have a lack of talent, right? Okay, I'll put it to you like this. I'm gonna say it in this manner, and it's gonna sound disrespectful, but I'm not going. It's not that. I think this team mentally is soft. Mentally, we're soft, right? And it starts with some Randle. It starts with some Randle, and our approach to taking out teams. See, the 2020 team with Bullock and Elfrid Payton were not as soft as this team. I think when we removed Elfrid Payton, and Reggie Bullock and added offense, we took away desire and defense and desire and replaced it with offense. Cash Money in the building. What's good?
Hey, what's up, man? What's good, man? I want to talk to you for a hot second. I'm at work, so obviously can't be on for long. To answer, hey, got to make the donuts, man. Got to do what I got to do.
Yeah, man.
To hopefully answer one of your questions, we need a dog. That's one thing that the '90s Knicks had, that mentality, that mental toughness, or as is better known today as that Mamba mentality.
Right.
Now, along with the physical talent that we need to get the job done, we also have to have a mental toughness, and that comes from having a dog. No, we don't have necessarily a dog on our team. I don't know if that's exactly what you're making reference to. We can use one. Now that alpha dog don't necessarily have to be the leader, but he has to be the one that can rally the troops and through his example set the tone for us to get the job done.
Right.
So where that's going to come from, who that's going to flow through. We're not in the locker room, so I don't know the answer to that question. There are a few that are out there that we could possibly obtain, because sometimes a team needs that.
Right.
You got to blend both talent wise and mentally as a team.
Right.
And the two has to mesh together, and so that that can be manifested on the court. I mean, I look at, like, for an example, I mean, even though Phoenix beat New Orleans,
right,
you saw that manifested in the team. That guy Herb Jones, wow, woo, what a talent. And then Alvarado, obviously a guy who really doesn't have the talent, which is obvious, but mentally, that's like going to a battlefield. It's like he's not the best talented, or he don't have the biggest gun, but that's the guy you want to have in the front line because of his mental approach to the game. Now, granted, Chris Paul is a Hall of Famer. We know the story without going there. But knowing the situation, he just gave his all. You hear the expression, you leave it all on the floor. He did, man. And no, it wasn't enough to get the job done, but he earned the respect, of Chris Paul and the team in general. I mean, you saw it I don't know if you saw the series clinching game for Phoenix, man.
Yeah.
It was jokers crying, man.
Yeah.
Out of respect, man, because they was balling, man. That was one hell of a series, even though, Phoenix came out on top. And and I don't know, again, like I said, I don't know if that's answering your question, but we need that here in New York.
Right.
That's something we need as a Knicks team. So that's just my take.
Okay. Soulfinger, what's good?
What's going on, fellas?
Salute.
Good morning. Good morning. Salute, brother. Salute. Sound like you just getting up out the bed, man.
No, man, I'm like you. I'm up here actually getting a little OT in, but I work from home, so.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I'm one of those situations. I'm like, man, it's Sunday morning. I could be laid up on the couch doing a whole bunch of nothing. And then I got to go tackle this yard when I finish with this. So.
Oh yeah, me too.
But anyway, I just gotta. I agree with you, Cash. I think the problem we don't have that enforcer type. You go back to the 90 Knicks. We had Mace, we had Oak. You had those type players. We don't have that kind of toughness. Yeah. And that cat that's gonna get all up in you. That it be within the team, get up in the team, and get up in the other team. And we need that. That's the one thing I do know we need it. Along with the point guard, and hey, if it happens to be a point guard we get, that's that way. Then hey, so be it. But we need that on that team. We need that toughness. We need that identity. We went away from it this last season. Went away from defense to defensive identity.
Okay. And
went straight offensively. And you were trying to be defensively when you're more offensively, and then you didn't have that. That hard head in that locker room like that. You got Taj. Taj is more of a mentor type. He's a mentor, but Taj is gonna be up in, coming up on you, all up in your pressing you like you need. And granted, this day and age, they don't make a lot of those players. They don't see those players anymore. We're looking at some things, but you do need that toughness in that locker room. Who it comes from, where you find it, I don't know, but we do need that.
Right. I think I think this is. I think we're in a situation where the will versus skill argument is the one that we're having with ourselves right now. Mm-hmm. We just don't know it. We don't know we're having the will versus skill debate, right? Yeah. Do you want more guys? Do you want more Hito Turkoglu, Peja Stojakovic type players, right? Do you want more Draymond Green type players?
See,
right? Yes. And so Peja Stojakovic got all the skills, or had all the skills in the world: dribble, shoot, pass.
Yeah, he catch fire. Yeah.
He catch fire. You couldn't stop him, right? Draymond Green could do some of that stuff real good, but mostly he brought grit and determination.
Mm-hmm.
Right? He wanted that rebound more than you wanted to breathe air. Right? You want to breathe air and are desperate, but Draymond Green want that random rebound more than you want to breathe air.
Yeah.
You have guys on your roster like that.
And I can say, when you put it that way, we don't have that.
Right.
We don't have that all the way. We don't.
Right. And so
I will.
Oh, go ahead, bro.
No, I was going to say, I will say this to answer your question. I think we need a balance of the two.
That we do.
We need a balance, because you do need both. I mean, you look at again. I'm going to refer back to the Pelicans, like Alvarado. I mean, he did all the hustle plays, all the dirty work, if you want to call it. Whereas you had McCollum and you had Brandon Ingram in terms of the talent you mentioned, and they balled out. So I think as a Knicks team, we need a balance of both. And refer back to that 90s team, they had that.
Mm-hmm.
They had that. We probably had a few more roughnecks than talent wise, but again, the style of play was different back in the 90s than it is today.
Yeah, you can't.
But I do say that we need a balance of both in order to be successful.
Right. Well, what I'm getting at though, Cash, is because I understand the philosophy. What I'm saying is, right now, what does this team have and what is it missing? Because ideally, you want more will than skill, but enough skill to accomplish things like score the basketball, right? You know what I'm saying? You don't want skill players having to be will players. You know what I'm saying? You don't want Kemba Walker having to lock down Steph Curry, right? You didn't want that. You know what I'm saying? What you want is a will player, like a Pat Beverly guarding Steph Curry. You know what I'm saying? Or something to that effect, right? But ultimately, what I'm getting at is this: the Knicks have guys that can score, right? They have guys that can score, but what they don't have is continuity. Like when a team goes on an 8-0 run, this team seems like they want to fold the tent. Oh man, they up by 12. Man, this game over. That type situation. Or we up by 20. We can cruise right now, right? No. The only thing better than winning by 20 is winning by 40. That was like Kobe Bryant them approach. Like we up by 20, we want to step on your neck.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly. That's the Mamba mentality. You step on the throat. And then at the same time, like you said, if we're down by 20, I want to see somebody jumping up and getting in somebody's face. Even if it's a star player, get your, get your sugar, honey, iced tea self together.
Right. And when's the last time y'all saw a Knicks player die for a loose ball?
Yeah.
Man, that long. Last person I can, and believe it or not, that keeps coming to mind when you talk about that would be Enes Freedom.
Yeah.
He was the last one, and he was the last person I could think of that was actually on the floor doing something like that. And then before that, David Lee.
Yeah. 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 And so like,
hey, yo, can y'all hear me okay?
Yeah, man. What's good, man? How you doing?
What about Jared Jeffries?
Yeah, that's been a while. That's like what, 12 years?
Yeah.
Yeah, man. I'm an OG. How y'all doing, man? Salute.
Good, man. Good to
Salute,
see you, man.
salute, brothers.
Salute,
Salute.
man.
Hey, I'm gonna have to hop off here, man. Like I said, I was just gonna be on here for a heartbeat because I'm I'm on the clock. So
Okay. All
Yeah,
right,
I
boss.
am
It was
I
too.
good to
gotta
see
keep
you.
it moving. But it was good hearing you, brothers. Thanks for giving me the couple of minutes, and I'll holler at y'all later. Peace.
Stay safe, bro. Yeah, man.
Yo, I got an interesting take about what we missing, like what you're talking about right now, Freezy.
Okay.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing we're missing, man, is I think we're going to get it too. I'm not saying that we're permanently stuck in this situation. I think it's really the continuity part, man. Like with Thibodeau staying as our head coach, I think we'll be able to develop some like more aggressive or hard nosed style players. We're just going to have to develop that, though. I don't think we can find that. You know what I'm saying? I think really Deuce has got a chance to do that if he gets playing time. And IQ could really do that too. His defensive like ability from the time he was drafted to now, it's like it's night and day. It's significantly better. Like if he just gives like maybe another year or 2 years, his defense might match that spark that he has on offense. He might be able to bring that energy on the defensive side. I mean, it's really just going to take time. I think if we just stay with the group we have, even keeping Randall, like keep everything similar or the same, I think we'll move in the right direction.
Okay.
See, I like I like that thinking pattern as well because I'm not really you got a lot that's ready to get rid of Randall, and I've said my piece on things regarding him, but I'm not ready to say that he's straight up garbage or trash. I just think he hasn't been used or putting better. He need to be putting coached better and putting better positions and everything.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely. I think he can't take the lead role, man. He has to be a power forward. He cannot be a ball handler. Like, I mean, in situations, yeah, but he cannot be the lead ball handler on the team. And I think it's going to take some time for him to get readjusted to that because that season where he had the MIP, like he was the GOAT. Like, don't get it twisted. He had a phenomenal season, but that's not sustainable. We can't run our offense through Randall like that again, ever. He's just not reliable enough of a shooter. He's just not. And the ball handling is not there. So it's got to run through somebody else. I think RJ really has to take over.
Yeah, right. And that's just the thing. We're at that point. Like it's going to be Randall. I mean, it's going to be RJ. It's all kinds of. It's like a big old conundrum on that. And then, real quick, you brought up IQ. IQ has a chip on his shoulder because he has so many people saying what he can't do versus what he can do.
Right.
Big fact.
Salute Andy.
Andy, what's good, man?
What up, fam?
My bad, Sophie.
Oh no. It's but so he has that. So it's more of a proven thing with IQ. Don't get me wrong, he does take some bad shots, but that'll come with time. We have I've seen a lot of people on Westbrook. I've seen a lot of people talking about Westbrook, and I bring this up, or I'll put this out there. We talk about some of the shots that IQ takes. He takes bad shots. His shooting his ball IQ or shot selections are horrible.
Right.
What's the difference? What's the deal with that? With his being in the league going into his third year, and Westbrook being in for over 10 years, and still doing a lot of the same thing. See, the thing is, I give IQ a lot, give him a lot of rope because he's still young. You can work on it, get him out of that. Westbrook, It is what it is, and you got to look at. He was always running a gun. Yeah, kill me now about the whole Westbrook thing. It's not I'm not that big on Westbrook game like that because you say he's a point guard. I look at him as a two guard that's put in the point guard position. He's a combo. Now back to our situation, we can develop something like that. You just got to find the right one. Even with Mitch, look, Mitch does a lot of dirty work, and we're at a crossroads because you don't know is he staying or is he going? Will the Brinks truck roll up and whisk him away, or will we make the move to get him? I feel like, we don't, with the talent we got, I mean, if you're going to let Mitch go, if he's going to go, we got to get something in return. We have to, because that's a travesty. Because you get a chance to get something for Frank. You bring Frank, you hold on to him to let him walk out the door when you could have got something for Frank. That's my whole thing. If you're going to let him go, let's get something back in return, man.
Let me just interject. Won't nobody giving us a washing machine for Frank Ntilikina.
Teams wanted Frank. I mean, teams wanted Frank. There was teams that wanted in the trades.
What are you on this morning? Don't nobody want Frank. He ain't played a minute anywhere else. Like,
No,
like
at the time we were trying to trade him. Look at it. Golden State wanted him in a little bit of a package. We could have got Frank in a deal, and even Detroit when we got in the Derrick Rose thing. That was what I'm talking before.
Yeah.
Oh, you mean years before?
Years before.
The end of the contract. Okay.
So
yeah,
before you start saying I'm on something, open your ears early in the morning.
No, my bad. I didn't realize you were talking about years before. But no, you are right on that. If we'd have moved on from him real early, we could have got something.
That's what I was saying. Give them up. Look, you got these things. Don't let it walk out the door. If somebody's willing to take an old pair of shoes, don't throw them in the trash. If they're gonna give you $5, take the $5.
Okay.
That's why I look at it. Don't let me walk because that's gonna be a mistake.
Okay. Well, what I was getting at, and what the point is that we have a lot of issues. And just briefly, before Andy jump on real quick, I want to hear from Andy. But Andy, let me say this real quick, and then I'll slide out of the way. Right. The Knicks have multiple issues that go back to one major issue, right? So our questions have been, where will the Knicks get their point guard of the future from? That's a historic question. We don't need to answer that right now. Right now, we need to worry about the 2022-2023 season, right? Well, what do we do with Randle? Randle's not a fit. How come Tibbs don't play the kids, right? What are we gonna do with all these veterans that we spend about $70 million on that don't contribute what we consider to be adequate return, right? What is Leon Rose's long-term plan, right? What is this kid Cam Reddish gonna do with us? Is he gonna be somebody, or is he gonna be another kid we let go out the door and he'll become something somewhere else, right? How come we keep blowing these third and fourth quarter leads? How come the offense always seems to sputter with Julius Randle on the floor? So we got like 1,000 of these questions, right? But the question we should be asking is, how come when we get punched in the mouth, we don't respond? Right? That's the question, right? So and the reason why I say that is because if you look at that question for what it is, if you answer that question, it answers a lot of the other questions, right, that you have. Like, how come we give up fourth quarter? How come we give up so many leads? Well, because when teams punch us in the mouth, we don't respond, right? How come we can't find a point guard of the future and blah, blah, blah? It's because when teams come at us, we don't respond. Like, we don't allow a guy to thrive in that point guard role. Because when a guy gets in that role over the past 4 to 5 years, we hijack we don't let him be a point guard and force the ball through Randle. Andy, let me do this real quick, and I just wanted to hear what you have to contribute. So Paris Duggar, thank you for the generous contribution. Paris Duggar says, we got to transform Randle into a big brother mentality for his young core. That's Tibbs' job. Nobody is getting in Randle's face, so he got to be convinced to put his young guys ahead of himself and just compliment them. And Paris Duggar, I agree. I'm gonna tell you what this Randle situation looks like to me. Randle is that guy. Randle is the enforcer that you need. Randle is that guy that can bring. But sometimes when you know how you get the ingredients too early. When you ever heard this thing before your time? I'm not saying that Randle's an innovator. I'm not saying he's an innovator. What I'm saying is we may have gotten the Randle piece a little earlier than we needed, right? Because when Randle is doing these things now for this team, nobody thought the young core was going to be this young core. Now you need the young core to get minutes, but now you have Randle in that role. Now there is no anyway. Let me see. Andy, what's good?
Yo, what up? Listen, guys, I agree with you on the Randle thing and him getting to the team too early. Because if we would have established first option or a floor general or a mentor or that number one, option, and he would come in. He wouldn't have to think that that's his role. Right. And now when he's thinking that he's the man, it's going to be hard to revert from it, right?
Right.
So like you said, that's like Parrish Duggar said, I would love that situation to happen, but it's easier said than done. You would have to literally brainwash that dude so to that to happen, so he would be like that vet mentor for the young guys.
Right.
Good point. I mean, that would be good, because you look at how he plays and his whole mannerisms. I mean, not all the other stuff. You would look at him as more of the enforcer type on the team.
Right. He is that. But what happens is, and this goes to all the enforcers throughout the history of the NBA, the tough guys, right? The tough guys never win a championship, right? The tough guys don't win a championship. It's always the skill guys that win it, but you need to have the balance, right? And when I say that is when Michael Jordan was winning championships with the Chicago Bulls, his enforcers, Robert Parrish, John Sally, Dennis Rodman, all played complementary enforcer roles, right? Steph Curry, when he was winning championships, he had enforcers that supplemented him. They were not the number one, number two options. They were complementary guys, and they thrived in that role. Draymond Green might be a Hall of Famer, right? You know what I'm saying? And so when you look at it, when Pat Ewing was winning a ton of games, Starks, Mason, Oakley, Bonner, all those guys were complementary players to Pat Ewing. So Pat Ewing didn't have to do the heavy lifting and the enforcing, right? Same thing. Larry Bird, when Larry Bird was winning championships, when Magic Johnson was winning championships, they didn't have to be the skill guy, carry the load, and be the enforcer. Now with Randle, we asked Randle to do all these things because we had a void of talent for so long. That when we got Randle, we expected him to score 22 a game, grab 12 rebounds, be the enforcer, be the team leader, be the offensive initiator, bring the ball up, talk in the media, right? Do all these things. Give him.
I just want to be not to cut you off, but you just want him to be all world. This is the best way to put it.
All everything for a franchise that needed everything. Well, the thing is when your franchise needs everything, you need about 4 or 5 core players to do that. And I'll give you another example, right? Giannis Antetokounmpo did not win a championship.
He sure did.
Giannis Antetokounmpo did not win a championship until he got Bobby Portis. Now I know people are gonna be like, "Well, no, man, that's a coincidence, bro." Bobby Portis is an enforcer, bro. And when Giannis,
let him go. No, I mean, sir, I didn't mean to cut you off. I was speaking out loud. That was in my internal monologue was broken, and I was saying to myself, it came out like, I hate we let him go.
Right. And so what I was getting at with this is you have to have that mentality on your roster because tough times require tough people, right? Anybody that has ever gone through anything, it takes a certain level of grit and resiliency and emotional toughness and mental toughness to get through a tough time, right? It takes that, right? Because a lot of times people around you, when things get tough, they want to quit and give up. You need somebody there that's gonna be like, no, now ain't the time for us to give up. Now it's the time for us to dig in and go at it and be the example for others, right? Because if you run through the thickets as fast as you can, the people that come behind you, they won't get hit by thickets, bro. A trail has been blazed for them to come in behind you. So you need those type of tough guys you don't want them to be the star, the number one guy, but you definitely need them.
Yeah, can I chime in here?
Yeah, man.
Yeah. So one thing I say about Randle, I think he needs to say exactly what you just said to the people in New York. Like what you just explained about like what you guys are asking him to do is outrageous. Like you want him to be, a point forward and a tough guy at the same time. Like that's and also handle the media pressure and also be the leader of the franchise. And I mean that's a lot. I think
and initiate the offense and be the leading rebounder and the leading scorer.
That's what I'm saying.
And
All world.
I think that's the only way that he can calm the fan base down. If he was just to explain that in the way you just said it, you should be his PR guy. Like I promise you, if he would say that, if he would just say that instead of flick the fans off or give them the thumbs down or be this aggressive and this emotional, if he would just explain that, look, like, we have a lot of holes here. We're trying to fill them and do the best we can, but it's tough. Like it's if he would just humble himself a little bit and say it like that, I think that the fans will get back on board with him. And that's going to be a challenge because, like, next year, if he's on the Knicks, if he starts really dropping the ball, messing up, doing the spin moves, turning over every 4 seconds, the crowd is going to go crazy for Obi. Like, it's going to be a worse situation next year if he's still here and his attitude isn't more humble or something. I don't know. I hate to say you got to humble yourself as a grown man. You got to do what you got to do, but he's got to do something to get the fan base back on his side because it's tough to play in New York, especially if you've yourself in the spot. It's going to be tough. It's going to be very tough for him. But I think he can do it. He just got to really approach it the way that you just said it. He got to tell us that. If he says that as straight up, I think we'll give him another shot. Most people in New York would.
I agree with I agree with you on that, Joe. Thing is the key word is that one word. If was a fifth, we all be full.
Right.
He's gonna have to. He's gonna have to. Now the thing is some may come back, but you're just gonna have some. It just ain't gonna work. It is what it is. That's just in life. Somebody, I don't care what you do, you can cure cancer. You got people that just not gonna like you, so he's just gonna have to deal with that. Everybody's not gonna like him. He just need to let his play on the court go. And and for any of those listeners, this is not being a random apologist. We're just looking at things as it is, and stand back because I have no skin in the game when it comes to a player. It's all about the name on the front of the jersey. If he can come back and he makes amends like that, it's a possibility. You just got to deal with the rest of the fallout that has happened previously, and just move forward and let his actions on the court, and in the locker room talk for him. Right. Stop all the other banter back and forth and get out there and go to work. Right. If you can't duplicate, his whole goal should be to be better than he was at that most improved level. At least try to get back or improve that. But not only himself, he needs to improve, make the team better. If you want to be the number one guy for right now, you're going to take that mantle. You want to hang that on your neck. Get out there and try to make yourself and the team better. Get what the media's saying, do whatever else. That's what he's going to have to do. Now, can he do it? That's I don't have that crystal ball to see. Nobody has a crystal ball to see. You would hope, because all in all, you want the team to succeed and do what we want. Bottom line, you want to see the team make the progress and move forward. So it's gonna be it's all on him.
Right. So I would say this. Just I'm just gonna use this example, right? What if Randle was on a team with Kyrie and Kevin Durant? What if Randle was in Brooklyn? Do it with the role that he likes to do. Bring the ball up, rebound, do those type of things, but in limited minutes because he's playing with a Kevin Durant and a Kyrie Irving. Do you think Julius Randle would be looked at differently, knowing that he didn't have to handle all the media pressure? He didn't have to be the number one star, right? He didn't have to be the number one scoring option. He didn't have to be the team leader. You know what I'm saying? Even though he probably would with Kyrie and KD, but they could share the load, right? What I'm getting at is this. I think Randle would be okay with the Knicks if the Knicks got a legit bona fide guy in here with Randle to take certain pressures off and allow him to play bully ball like what he's good at, right? And I'm not saying a guy at his position. I don't care what position the guy plays. Man, I don't care if it's a small forward, shooting guard, point guard, center, whatever it is, right? If there was a guy here with Randle to do some heavy lifting, because what happens is, and the thing that we don't notice is The thing that Knicks fans don't speak to is we don't play at an up-tempo pace. All of our possessions and every shot that we take as a Knicks team seem to be contested because we don't play up-tempo, up and down. It's like we don't give away possessions and all of that stuff. We play a grinded-out style, so every shot is going to be scrutinized, right? Randle misses a 20-footer. People are like, oh, man, we needed that. You know what I'm saying? As opposed to when you watch when you watch the Memphis Grizzlies, people think the Memphis Grizzlies are grit and grind. They're not. The Memphis Grizzlies they're a transition team. They get out and want to run in transition because Taylor Jenkins understands that it's too hard to score in the NBA on every possession against set NBA defenses. You got to find easy baskets from somewhere.
Well, when you say coaching is also the issue with that, Freeze?
Could I chime in?
You pose that to the panel in the chat. You think coaching is also the issue with that?
I think personnel is the issue because if the Knicks had Ja Morant and Tom Thibodeau, if the Knicks had Tom Thibodeau and Ja Morant, would that even be the question?
That's exactly what I was gonna say. I promise you. Like that's
you know
exactly
what I'm saying? Because
if you have the pieces, like the speed of the game will happen automatically if you have the pieces. Right. But I mean, or the pace will increase automatically. But one thing I will say about us playing a slower pace is really it prepares us to win in the playoffs. To be honest, if you look at the playoffs, that you have to play a slow pace to win in the playoffs. Well, not have to, but you have to play a slower pace. You have to be successful in the half court. And I mean, it's not a bad thing to play slower if you do it efficiently. The problem is we don't have the pieces to do it efficiently. I think when we get the pieces to do it efficiently, the way Tibbs plays, we will be successful in the playoffs. Like, just being real, we will be successful in the playoffs. We just got to get there. We got to get the pieces, personnel in the right place, and shoot more efficiently. That's the most important thing.
Right.
So now look at the front office because you got to make the moves to get the right pieces to go with the coach style of play.
Yeah, it can't always be on the coach, man. It can't always be on the coach.
Yeah,
you got to have accountability in the front office. Yeah.
If you heard me before, I've always said that the way this season has went, it's a lot of blame to go around. Players got to do their part, i.e. looking at a lot of the free throws. We lost a lot of games on the free throws alone. We just talking about free throws.
Big fact.
That's one thing. But then you look at Tibbs made his move because it's easy to dump on Tibbs because he's the front man there. And I've had my say about him, but I can't give him all the blame because now I also say the front office. Front office did, hey, we supposed to be making a hard right to get to the store. You making a hard left.
Hard left, right.
And
ain't looking back.
Yeah. And I said, you supposed to, I want 2% milk, you buying buttermilk. That's two different things, man.
That's way two different things. Yeah.
So that's the situation we're in. Front office got to get the right pieces. And you're right. And like I said, it's a beautiful storm in an ugly way. It's just that give the man the players he wants and step out of the way. But he has to stop being stubborn in his own and getting in his own way by holding on to certain players that he doesn't need to play for certain periods of time and in wrong positions. So those are the faults right there. But like I said, everybody's got to take the piece of the blame pie. It can't be dumping it all on one person. At least dump on certain people because they're right there. But I like to look at across the board. Everybody's got to. Everybody is at fault.
Right. Jay Boogie, what's good?
What's going on, man? How y'all doing? Happy Sunday. Blessings and blessings to everybody. You know what I'm saying? Pillow away from the head. Life is good. Take the pillow away from your head and let life lead you. Shout out to the chat. Everybody rocking the orange and blue, man. Just listen to y'all, you know what I'm saying? Cook up this morning. Y'all guys cooking. Freezy throwing seasoning. He got the ingredients and y'all cooking things up, man. You know what I'm saying? So I came through just to get a little bit of breakfast, you know what I'm saying? And just, tell everybody, man, if nobody told y'all last night, man, I love y'all, man. Just know Jay fucking love you, man. You know what I'm saying? So we need more love and hugs, man, going on in this world, man. Y'all guys is on to a lot of great things this morning, you know what I'm saying? And I'm enjoying it. I just like I'm just dealing with the small steps. Let me know where we at on the 17th. You know what I'm saying? Next month. I need to know where we at on the 17th, and then we could just go from there. But y'all talking about we need the right people, bring the right personnel and stuff like that. And the flip side of that, when we don't have the right people to bring in here amongst this team, Don't just go jump out the window and go get the grabbing and spending money like you did and everything. See, that was a false move. We could have just we just could have ran everything back all over again, you know what I'm saying? Instead of jumping out the window, continue on being patient, you know. I would have been happy with that same roster from 2 seasons ago now. I'd have been happy with that same roster if we would have failed this past season with the moves that everybody else made. Then I could have been like, okay, everybody got better. You know what I'm saying? So we need to big up. But the thing is, we made moves and got rid of guys that was on that roster 2 years ago and didn't get better along with the other teams making moves and got better. It's like almost you putting us 2 steps behind a step from them and a step behind from us. You know what I'm saying? So when the move is not there, don't force it. You know what I'm saying? Don't force it at all. Continue on, you know what I'm saying? Stand pat and let things, you know, continue to build. You know what I'm saying? I like our young core. You know my main guys I like. I like IQ. I like RJ. And I like Obi. Anybody else, I really don't care about. You know what I'm saying? But them 3 guys right there got to keep on growing and keep on developing. I say it all the time. Before the Phoenix Suns with the Phoenix Suns, they was the Memphis Grizzlies. And before Memphis was the Grizzlies, they did what the Cleveland Cavaliers is doing this year. Now those are the steps we got to take and believe and have confidence. And other guys, we don't have to go chasing. Guys going to run here when they see us doing those right things. And they're going to run here and be like, yo, we need to go with them guys. You know what I'm saying? Just get right for the 23 crop that's coming, man. You know what I'm saying? The rookies is going straight. The high school guys coming straight in. It's going to be a good college draft, and everybody's free, man. You know what I'm saying? So, you know, that's where I'm at, man. I just, you know, wanted to come to smile, you know, say what's up with my guy Andy, my man, the young E40 out there in Diego, you know what I'm saying? I know the Chargers look real good, boy. And I ain't talking about the Dodge Chargers either. The Chargers out there looking good. They had a hell of a draft. So I just wanted to throw that out there, E40. I know he out there, bro. And my man Kim over there, he rocking with us, you know what I'm saying? And blessings to the chat, man. That's it, man. That's all I wanted to do, man. Just tell everybody.
Yeah, man. Appreciate you, bro. Man. Appreciate
I just want to say, hey, Bird, I showed Bird your response, and she had her ears in her mouth, smiling so hard from that. Appreciate that, boo.
man. I maybe she watching it, but let her know, man. I'm rooting for her. I'm not just cheering. I'm rooting for her. I'm praying for her, you know what I'm saying? And I'm challenging you. Get there, young lady, because I know you got it in there. How I know you got it in there and I don't even know you? I know your dad. And I rock with your dad on the screens. And I know what type of man he is. And if he's that type of man, I know what type of kids he got. And that go for all y'all. I know y'all got great kids. And I know y'all got great grandkids if you got grandkids, because I know y'all. And if the parents is good, that means the kids is good. You know what I'm saying? They got a beautiful life, man. I just wanted to rock for a few minutes, man. I ain't going to hold y'all up, man. I just wanted to say some love, man. You know, let you know when that subscribe bell go off, Freezy, I'm right there with you, man. So y'all have a beautiful Sunday, man. We're going to enjoy mine, man. Blessings to y'all guys, man.
Appreciate you, boss.
Hey,
man. Love you, Doc.
Easy there, boogie.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. Hey, so there was a lot said there, and what I noticed is while I go around and watch the content creators in Knicks universe, I think what's happening is everyone that's contributing is pointing out specific stuff that they see happening on the surface level, right? Like we see certain things happening, and we can validate it with data. But what we don't do is mine that data to figure out why these 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things are happening. Is there a root cause? Like, is there 1 or 2 reasons why these 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 things are happening? And I believe that there are, right? I believe, and I pointed to earlier, and I want to get to the title of the show. Will the NBA draft help the Knicks fix these issues that we're having? Go ahead, Andy. Go ahead, bro.
Yeah, Freezy, before we, move step forward, I want to go one step back with the Randle thing and him being the number 1 option, and how could we help him with that thing?
Right.
And this is only, my idea how the front office and actually RJ Barrett can help him with this situation. Listen, we are looking at Randall as the main guy, as the main option, because he took that contract extension.
Yeah.
He's the highest paid player currently. He's gonna and listen, Freezy, the contract is gonna kick in this season.
This season, yeah.
The last season he played on the old contract, and fans turned on him because he was the main guy, right? The main guy on the salary or on the payroll.
Right.
Imagine if RJ Barrett signs this year the extension, like this offseason. The target is gonna shift. And Julius might be happy with that situation because, you know, and listen, and RJ still ain't going to get the money this offseason. He's going to have to play the whole season, and then the money's going to kick in.
Yeah.
But he already is going to be called the $1 million man, whatever you want to call him, right? Like $100 million man we did with Stat and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So listen, if RJ signs that extension, and maybe not God forbid, but if that number is going to be higher than Julius has, he's off the hook as far as I see it, at least for like 70% of the fans, because then the target shifts on RJ. He has to prove, he has to live up to that salary, and then Julius can sneak around, a couple of bad games here, a couple of bad games there. But if RJ does it, I don't want to be in RJ's skin.
I agree with you. I wanted to get to that because that is a part of the conversation that Knicks fans know is coming down the road, but it's so uncomfortable for Knicks fans that I don't think they want to address it right now. It's like, you know how it is. Something bad is going to happen. You don't want to be out front of it to try to fix it. He's like, I don't know. I'm with you, Andy, because RJ had, in my opinion, a terrible season this season. In my opinion, right? That's just me. Now, others will say, well, you have to chalk it up to development. He's only 21. That's what they tell. He's only 21, Uncle Freezy. You got to. I get it. I get that. Right. But to Andy's point, because in a media market like New York, the blame shifts quickly, right? The blame shifts quickly because now if you add RJ to the tumultuous finger pointing situation, now you're pointing the finger at the front office, Tibbs, Randle, and RJ. Now if that's that's a lot to take in. I don't know if I'm ready, Andy. I don't know.
Hey, like again, I always like to see that because one thing I like, excuse me, about this and a few other these platforms, I don't like because don't know everything, but then you always have somebody that can open your mind. If you come in with an open mind and willing to learn something new, you always find something or change your way of thinking on some aspects. So I can be stubborn. I mean, it's human nature. We can be stubborn our own way. But I like when Andy come in the way he, Andy, he subtly drops it on. He subtly dropped those jewels on you. And then he sits back in the chair and just relax.
Yeah, man. The draft issue though. I'm gonna say this. Will the NBA draft help the Knicks fix their issue? And not necessarily this draft, but I'm referring to the NBA draft in general, right? Not just this draft, because most of the guys that are on this roster came through the NBA draft, right? So what I want to say to that is this: the Knicks have to find an elite athlete for the backcourt, right? An elite backcourt player that is tough and can score easily. And bring that to the Knicks on a consistent basis every night, right? And the reason why I say that is because, in my belief, I think the Knicks, and this is a point that I made before, and I don't know if I said it correctly, but I think the Knicks may have the most athletic front court in the NBA. When you're talking about Jericho Sims, Nerlens Noel, Julius Randle, Obi Toppin, Cam Reddish. I think when you look at the front court, the Knicks probably have the most athletic front court in the NBA. In the back court, however, a place where everybody is super athletic, I think the Knicks struggle some because I don't know if Kemba Walker is the most athletic guy at this stage. I don't know if Derrick Rose is the most athletic guy. I don't know if Alec Burks is an elite athlete. I don't know if RJ Barrett, who's a wing player, but I don't know if RJ Barrett is an elite athlete, right? I don't think Quentin Grimes is an elite athlete. And in a league where teams are super explosive in the backcourt, I think we lag behind there, right? Now, I know people's thing is well, athleticism doesn't necessarily win you championships, but athleticism contributes to doing things more easy or easier, right? If you're athletic, that means not common sense, but it seems as if you're an excellent athlete, it seems as if you could become a better defender, right? It seems that way. Like you could do stuff physically easier because you're more dexterous and agile, right? It seems that way, right? If the Knicks get a guy in this draft that is an elite athlete, especially a guy that can take on playmaking minutes. I would, for example, I would say Jaden Ivey. I know he's not a point guard, right? I know Jaden Ivey's not a point guard. I don't know if he's a 2 either. I think he's a combo guard. Mm-hmm. He's a combo guard. He's like 65-35, more shooting guard. He's 65.35, like 65% shooting guard, 35% point guard, in my opinion. He telegraphs passes. He doesn't read defense as well. All that stuff, but he's young, right?
Yeah.
But what I would say is even with that, would you take that over Alec Burks, who played a ton of minutes this season? Would you swap out Jaden Ivey for Alec Burks? Would you do that, Soulfinger?
Considering the youth and everything, yeah, because with that's a blank slate. If you got, and like I said, and this is gonna be me. Hear me out. And we're talking about using the same coach we got as in Tibbs. If you have a coach like Tibbs, he can, because Jaden Ivey would be a clean slate, unpainted canvas.
Right.
He can coach him to play the type of defense that he wants him to play because he's such a young player and he's younger and he's athletic. Granted, yeah, you're looking at giving up a veteran, a do-it-all vet like Burks for Jaden Ivey. I would, because I'm looking towards the future to add in. Would it hurt to give us some of the experience and what Burks can give? Yeah, but I'm looking at on the backside what I can get out of a Jaden Ivey if Tibbs is working with him defensively and everything of that nature.
Right.
And it also gives us what we don't have, a lot, adds to the athleticism and stuff that we need.
Okay. So Paris Duggar, thank you for the generous contribution. Paris Duggar says our fan base are bad about taking a snapshot of our players. Guys get to their best selves through training and hard work. Let our boys turn to men and trust. I dig that. I dig that, man. What I'm getting at though is the Alec Burks experiment at point guard last year. I think was a very bad experiment that went wrong. Stephadon, what's good?
I'm here, man. Blessed morning to the panel. Blessed morning to the chat. Uncle Freezy, good morning. I'm just here listening to y'all, man. Taking in everything into consideration, what I would do. I like that question. I would take Jaden Ivey over Burks any day, even though, as Soulfinger say, Burks is a savvy veteran, Army Swiss knife. But I heard the Godfather Sim mention something about Burks on the show one day, why probably Tom Thibodeau probably started him at point. He said if you go on NBAreference.com, you will see that Alec Burks is ranked number 14 as far as ball pressure, right? And Tom Thibodeau likes big guards, right? So I'm not saying definitely that was the reason why he started Burks at that point, but I could understand why he probably put him in that position because of the ball pressure he puts on it. But I wouldn't mind giving up Ivy for Burks. And as Soulfinger, I have to agree with Soulfinger too. If Tom Thibodeau works with him on his defensive skill, because he's a tall guard, I think he's 6'3", I believe, long wingspan. So if he definitely works on his defense, Tom works on his defense and strong defensive schemes, I believe he could be that player that we need also too as athletic wing.
Okay. All right. So what you thinking? So what you thinking, Andy? Am I jumping out the window? Am I jumping out the window by thinking that Jaden Ivey, given those minutes that Burks got as the combo guard? I'm not saying throw away Burks. That's not what I'm saying. What I'm saying is the combo guard in the backcourt situation. I think I may have preferred to see Ivy. I like Burks as a professional and as a player. I think he really contributes as the second guy, scoring guy off your bench, right? But as a starting guard in the NBA, I think I'll pass.
Freezy, bro. I don't want to, get on your bad side, but I think you wore the pink glasses a little bit too soon because Jaden Ivey is gonna go like top 4, and
Right.
and we probably gonna pick like 11.
Right.
And getting into that top 4 is gonna be really, really hard. So of
Right.
course I would take Ivy over Burks.
Okay.
And it's not only because, listen, I watch Ivy like probably 15 minutes of tapes and scouting reports on him. So I'm not gonna act like I saw his college games fully on tape and stuff like that.
Right.
But listen, Alec Burks was playing out of position.
Yes.
I understand what Stafa said and what Sim mentioned about the ball pressure, stuff like that. But Tibbs' mindset was probably, listen, I don't have a great point guard defensively this season, so I'm gonna go with the bigger, longer guy, so I can try to stop these point guards.
Right.
And that wasn't the case. My problem with Tibbs' decision was that he run with Alec Burks literally 81 games out of 82 of the regular season, right?
Right.
He was the Iron Man for the Knicks. The next guy was Evan Fournier with 80 games.
Yep.
So listen, after like 20 games, you see that ain't working, you switch up. I'm not asking you to switch after 2-3 bad games because basketball can be streaky, not only on the offensive end. You can have some off nights and stuff like that, so you're going to look worse. But he was looking at Burks at the point guard for literally like 60 games in a row.
Yeah.
You see it didn't work after 10 games, after 20 games. You try to make that adjustment. And I'm not saying put him on the bench. You can start him, but adjust his minutes, right? Or switch up the defensive scheme.
Right.
Make the center, come higher a little bit to help him out or stuff like that.
Right.
We really didn't see that many adjustments from Tibbs. And like you said, listen, Alec Burks ain't bad player. I love them off the bench as that, Swiss Army knife type. But starting out of position, I think that's a bad thing for Burks actually, because he might not get the money that he was supposed to get, after that journeyman contract that he's gonna probably leave the Knicks if we don't trade him. He's gonna be still playing in the NBA probably for around 10 million a year, but I think we did him some disservice, playing him out of position. So at least from my point of view. And listen, I understand that Tibbs might have been hesitant to go with IQ because he loved IQ with the guys on the bench, with Obi, right? Those guys, you see the cohesion there. You see the energy that when those two guys are on the floor, they literally look at each other and they know that the ball should go above the hoop for the alley-oop, right? So you just see it. When you play basketball, you just see those two guys have chemistry straight up. But playing IQ with the starters would mean that he's going to have probably less minutes with Obi, and that's going to put Obi in also a disadvantage, right? Because he's going to be playing with the main guys, not his tempo of the game, not his pace. So I think he had to pick the maybe not the worst, like the less how do you say it, the guy that you want to hurt the least, and he went with Burks, because if we saw IQ playing the starting point guard and the result would be the same, we would be on IQ's butt this time. So I think he kind of hidden IQ behind the Burks situation. So that's the case, at least as I see it. And listen, I'm not the biggest Quickly fan, everybody knows that, but I still think he developed. I don't think he's starting point guard material though for next season. I still need to see more consistency, better decision making, better shot selection. And listen, if we put Quickly at the point guard, people don't realize that it's going to be the same situation that we saw with Randle. He's going to have a worse year. Randle was the point forward. He was handling the ball. He was taking shots, getting assists and stuff like that. This season, his numbers dropped, but I said it in the preseason. If we're getting a point guard that's going to at least try to keep the ball in his hands a little bit more, Randle ain't going to have the ball that much, and that's going to lower his numbers. And that would be, the same thing with Quickly. You put him in the starting lineup, on the bench, he's basically the first man, the first option. When he's going to be with RJ and Randle on the court, he's going to be like the third option, and that's
fourth option maybe sometimes.
Yeah, even if you add Fournier, he's going to be the fourth option. So I think that would be a disservice for Quickly's development and his numbers at least. So.
Right.
Yeah, I'll say, if I could chime in, I'll say that's a great take, man. I think that Tibbs gets a lot of like flack for like everybody says like not developing the youth or not working with the youth, but I think that he protected them a lot this year when especially IQ was really struggling from the field. If he would have went away from Burks and put IQ in the game, like first tremendously more minutes or started him when he was shooting 12% from three, it would have been really bad for IQ's development overall. So I think that Tibbs gets this flack for not playing the young players for extended minutes. But if they're going to go out there and struggle, I get, sometimes you got to struggle through it and just get through it. But if they're going to go out there and struggle and get crucified by the fans, it's really not worth it. Maybe he is right by protecting them a little bit. And I think that should be the narrative, is like he protected these young guys so they could develop over time. And you see Obi, if Obi would have had more minutes in his rookie year, minus the injury, maybe he wouldn't have been this good now. Like maybe he would have lost confidence even more and not have been able to perform at the level he's at now. So I think it's like a double-edged sword. The way he operates with the youth seems to be working. Like all the players that we've drafted seem to be really on the right path. Like everybody says he's bad with the youth, but they all seem to be pretty good to me. Just my opinion. I think that was a great take about protecting IQ. Like he definitely did that.
Right.
Well, let me throw this out there. Would you think it would be safe to say it's easy to format this the right way? It's easy to like I said, we can point the finger at Tibbs. So like I said, he has made his mistakes. But without any word from the front office, as far as giving direction or what we're doing or whatever, kind of help hyping the issues we have that make you point your finger more at Tibbs. Because like you said earlier, we don't have the personnel, certainly right now, personnel to come in to be playing in these positions. So you got to make do what you got. We didn't want to see Tibbs play Burks all this time. Yet we look at the fact that, you had Deuce. And then you take into account there was no contingency plan because you brought in a Kemba Walker. He goes down, but then you had Derrick Rose. You figured we had Derrick Rose. He goes down. So you had 2 point guards with injury history. So with all that, do you think that is also a factor in the finger pointing of Tibbs not doing the right thing with the youth? Because like you said, like Joe said, he did protect them. Because when you put it like that, you have to step and you stand back and want to open-minded about it. You look at the method. He might not have come out and said it, but if you look at his actions, he was protecting the young guys. So I can't fault him for that.
Yeah, and so Finger, what fans have to realize, listen, We are all wise right now after the season, after we saw it.
Right.
Who says that our adjustments, if we would be the coach, would pan out and would work at that time, right? It's easy
Nobody.
after a game, watch at the back score, and I was like, oh, this guy was, like 4 for 12. He should have been benched because we had a guy that was 5 for 10.
Right.
You never know that situation. Maybe maybe the last guy on the bench can be like a Jeremy Lin situation, right? He's going to come in and he's going to have 5 great games, and then he's going to be garbage after that.
Right.
So that's the situation. Listen, everybody says that, and fans that say that, listen, he should have guy with the young guys. Listen, we played young guys plenty of minutes, and they say it like after the 60th game, after the 50th game, that when they saw that it's going to be hard to reach the play-ins, that we should just go with the youth, like full out with the youth, like sit Fournier, sit Burks, sit Randle, and just play the young guys. I wonder if we would go like 1-19 in that 20 game span, if the people would be saying the same thing, go with the youth.
Absolutely. What happens if they would have got like just worked and it would have been exposed?
And that would be really, it would be.
We would not have any positivity.
Teams, offensive schemes, whatever.
You know what you fellas just described, or who you just described? Kevin Knox.
Yeah.
That's Kevin Knox. Seriously. If we're willing to take a step back, go and look at the whole picture, if you'd have thrown them in, and you say they get in a situation, they get cooked and they get mollywopped all on the court, they get mollywopped in social media, mollywopped on the newspaper, mollywopped in whatever else, they could break them. Then you have a Kevin Knox, and then you want to move them out. Then you have to move them out, and you see
absolutely.
Now you see Knox in Atlanta, and that last game he put up 12 points, and he looked happy come off the bench. Granted, he says garbage time, but he looked good doing it. He looked more comfortable. Then we have another situation where we move in what could have possibly been really good talent or good piece to go ship somewhere else to get a new start on life. Because even Dennis Smith Jr. had some flashes in Portland.
Right.
Now, with Kevin Knox, though. Oh, I'm sorry, my fault.
I was going to say to Andy's point though, if you had reversed the roles, right? If you had sat those vets and you put those kids out there, and the kids had got drugged up and down the court, the conversation today would be so different. The conversation would be like, oh, our young court is trash. We didn't see nobody stood out. You know what I'm saying? We need to trade all these young pieces and go get such and such. Right? Because we can't think about this as a level-minded fan of NBA basketball. We have to look at it from a Knicks fan perspective. We don't always have patience with somebody who's performing bad, right? And we aren't always reasonable when it comes to a player having a bad game or 2 or 5 or 10. If a player has 10 bad games for us, y'all already know what the line of thinking is. Mm-hmm. Get his ass out of here. That's what we thinking as Knicks fans.
Big facts.
Right? Right? CWC, what's good?
What's good, everybody?
How you doing this morning?
How y'all doing? Chilling. I was hearing y'all talking and stuff like that. Tibbs is the blame for this season. 75% of the blame. Because he should have played the young guys in the beginning. So why you going to wait to the end to play the young guys? You know what I mean? It don't make no sense. Now,
CWC.
No.
Yes, it do.
We don't even know what the young guys. We don't even know what the young guys are about now. McBride,
you saying that on May 1st, 2022, right? You saying that on May 1st, 2022, but in October of 2021, the Knicks were still riding high off an undefeated preseason, and they were riding high off a playoff berth, which that was the first time they made the playoffs in years. And so you can't just tell a playoff team that, hey, we're going to scrap all the stuff y'all did in the previous year and then play all these kids.
Are you serious? Are you serious? When Tim first got the job, he was supposed to develop the kids, not play all these vets.
No, when
You
Tibbs
know what
got
I'm
the
saying? Come
job,
on, man.
Tibbs got the job, he was supposed to set the culture. He was supposed
Yeah,
to set
what
the
coach
culture.
do you have
The
now?
culture is the
We don't
most
got no
important part.
culture. We don't even know what it's about now. Because he messed up the whole season. We don't even know if Mick Bryant's a combo guard or a point guard.
Right.
Come
I say
on,
you
man.
don't. I say that we don't as fans know that, but I think that the front office and the coaching staff actually has more of a take on what these players can do based on what they do in practice. I mean, we don't get to see that, but for us to look at it like the front office and coaching has no idea what these players can do. I mean, that's not a real take. You can't, we're not in the practices. Like
Hold
we're
on.
not able to see.
They
We're not
were
able to
talking
see
about
what they may
trading
know.
Cam. When they got Cam to the New York Knicks, they were talking about trading Cam. And he only been with the Knicks for what? 3 weeks. They talking
Well,
about trading Cam to the Lakers.
I think that's also the media that's talking about trading Cam to
Nah,
Lakers. I don't
that
know
was
if that's
real.
a real source.
Nah, that was real.
A lot of stuff comes out that's not the truth. I'll say that.
Yeah, everything that we hear is not always going to be it
ain't always going to be true, but things came out, though.
Yeah.
You remember with Wild Wild West were blaming Tibbs. That wasn't real?
That was
real.
But that was
I don't
said
know.
to have happened in March, though. That was said to have happened in March.
Come on, man.
That
Everybody knows the young guys should have been playing.
But the young guys did play though, CWC.
Come on, man. What they play?
Agree with
When
you.
they play 5 minutes? Come on, man.
See,
Obi
CWC.
Toppin still playing 12 minutes.
Wait. Who's the youngest player on the team?
RJ Barrett.
RJ Barrett is the youngest.
Now we know we ain't talking about RJ.
Wait. You said play the kids. RJ Barrett is the youngest player in the. You said play the kids. RJ Barrett's the youngest player on the team.
Oh, come on, Uncle Freezy. Now you know we ain't talking about RJ. Come on now.
You said play the kids.
We talking about Mick Bryant now. And
you didn't specify.
Well, Dirk still he can't play more. But we don't even know what Mick Bryant is, man. He should have been playing more minutes.
Did Mitch Robinson play? Mitchell Robinson is young.
Oh, come on, man. You already know the deal. You know what I'm saying? Come on.
Okay.
Everybody know it's Tibbs' fault. So he ain't trying to get Tibbs out of this mess.
ACWC, I agree with you, but when it comes down to I can't say I'm giving him 75 because it's a lot of blame to go around for the season. Seriously, if you step back and step, Tibbs made his mistakes and didn't things. He did things I didn't agree with. He didn't play he should have been playing. I feel he should have played him a little sooner. I'm with you on that. Right. Also, when we were either getting blown out or doing the blowing out, the starters shouldn't have been playing. They should have been shouldn't have the young guys get that kind of action.
Right.
But then when you got to look at the players, like I said, I'm just gonna say one thing: free throws. And specifically with RJ, free throws, man. You got to hit those free throws. The ball, not only the free throws, but your defensive assignments. You can put them in a position, but they got to perform what he wants. Then the other thing, the front office got to be.
Finger, check this out. All right, you know how we was winning by like 21 points, 23 points, right? Why you ain't sub McBride in if he could pressure the ball? You know what I'm saying? Get him a minute to pressure the ball. You never know what's going to happen when he pressures the ball.
No, and that's what.
And he on the bench, and you playing guys 30 minutes. You playing Burt over 30 minutes. Come on, man. He's not even a point guard. He's a shooting guard.
We already spoke to that point though. We already understood. We already established that the Alec Burks thing, playing 35 minutes a game at point guard was probably not the move.
Yeah,
but the thing is coming into the season, there was a different mindset than we are right now. We sit here today as a lottery team. Yeah. At the start of the season, we were sitting at being a playoff team, right? And so just to go back and say, well, we were a lottery team at the beginning of the season is disingenuous. It's faking the funk. You didn't think this team was going to be this bad at the beginning of the season. The team was coming off the playoffs, and Julius Randle had hit a game winner against the Wizards that brought momentum coming into the season. You remember the Knicks were 3-0. Julius Randle hit a game winner to have the Knicks go 4-0 in the preseason, and then we were playing our historic rival in game 1 of the NBA season. And so to say in game 1 of the NBA season, we should have been giving Jericho Sims and Miles McBride heavy minutes over Alec Burks.
Why not? Why not? You're supposed to develop. That's what develop means.
No, you're supposed to win.
Play them young guys in there. You don't sit them on the bench. How are they going to develop on the bench?
So why'd you sign veterans then? And then the other question is
they couldn't sign nobody else.
The other question too is, when have you ever seen a 15-man roster of kids 24 and under make the playoffs or win a championship?
Look at Grizzlies. They made the playoff.
Right.
They got young guys just like us.
Right. They have transcendent talent though in Ja Morant. He's
when you a stubborn old coach, that's what happens.
Nah, man. I think you got this one twisted. CWC.
Nah. You already know.
I gotta agree with my man.
Everybody on the chat knows. Everybody on the panel know what's going on. Come on, man. Yeah, I play the front office. I play the front office 25%. But Tibbs got all the guys he wanted. He got Rose. He got Noel. He got Gibson. He got everybody. He probably had like 3 people on the roster that he wanted, but he got like 13 people he wanted. Come on, man.
Check it. But you said Rose. Rose was injured, man. That ain't going to
Yeah, but that's not the front office fault. That's Tibbs' fault. You know what I'm saying?
Okay,
he ran Rose like a dog.
But hold on, hear me out, dog. Hear me out, bro. So, and this is not me actually trying to defend Tibbs. I can't believe I'm actually sound like I'm defending Tibbs. No, I've been on my stance because I told him he wasn't the coach. I didn't feel he was the right coach for a young team. But I just, from what I'm seeing, is like, all right. So the front office gave him Kemba. That's not a Tibbs type player, and he was injured.
That ain't Tibbs.
Okay. Evan Fournier, is that a Tibbs type player?
Nah, he wanted Fournier. I heard that he wanted him.
He said he wanted shooting.
Yeah.
He said he wanted shooting, but Evan Fournier, is he a Tibbs player though? That's what I'm asking. Does he play defense on the standard that Thibodeau likes?
But Sophie,
no.
You just said he wanted a shooter, right?
But the thing is, he said he wanted a shooter. But I asked you, is he a Tom Thibodeau type player who can shoot?
I think half and half. He's not, and he is, because he can shoot.
So it's 50-50.
Yeah, 50-50.
Right, and then you said 25%, and then you said 75%. Yeah. So the number, the math is all over the place. So
nah, the math ain't all over the place.
It is because 75 plus 25 plus 50 plus 50 is 200.
Yeah.
When you talk about percentages, you can only have 100%, bro.
What are you talking about? That is 100. What are you talking about?
75 plus 25 plus 50 plus 50 is
no.
He's on the 50 on Evan Fournier. 50%, he's a shooter. 50%, he can't. He can't his defense. That's what he was saying.
Because the point was Tibbs, CWC's original point was Tibbs should have been playing these kids from day one. Right?
Exactly.
That's your point, right?
Yeah, he should have.
And then you went on to say Tibbs is okay. Never mind. All right.
Okay, the vet, make it like this. The vet is not our future. The kids is our future. So you shouldn't be playing.
So what happens? What happens when your kids become vets? Then you get rid of them.
What happens
when your kids become vets? What happens when your kids become vets? Because RJ is going.
They get better, Uncle Freezy. The kids gonna get better if you play them.
No, you said the kids are our future, and okay, all right.
I say the kids is our future. The vets is not our future. Burks is not our future. Rose is not our future. Gibbs is not our future. Noel is not our future.
Okay.
Come on, man.
If I could just chime in, one thing I'll say is we all saw IQ shoot 15% for 25 games in the middle of the season.
Yeah,
we all saw that, right? Like, I'm not trying to defend Tibbs at all. I do believe he should have changed up the rotations, but there is something to say that he protected these kids from getting destroyed by the New York media and fans like CWC or like us in here. we would have killed these rookies or young players, and then we would be looking to trade them right now if they would have played and done as bad as they did with the minutes that you're requesting they get. Like there is something to be said that he protected them. Like it's like you draft a quarterback in the first round. Do you just put him out there and start him right out the gate? Well, yeah, if he's a transcendent player like a Ja Morant or RJ Barrett or like I don't know, Eli Manning, yeah, you put him out there at right after drafting him. But if he's not, you can't just put him out there to get just tore apart. You gotta let him grow behind the scene a little bit and then bring him out. You can't put Deuce out there for 40 minutes and expect good things to happen or his confidence to grow. That's a bad idea. Like I subscribe to the logic that you should hold these rookies back a little bit, these young players back a little bit, and over time, if they develop into a player or not, it's up to them. They've got to work hard outside of the game in practice, stuff like that. I mean, you just can't just put these guys out there to get tore apart. Like,
right. Yeah,
hey, I'm not saying put Brian out there for 40 minutes. Give him like 25 minutes or 20 minutes at least. They ain't gonna learn.
He puts up 8 turnovers and goes 1 for 9 over 6 years.
They're gonna learn from their mistakes. It's called develop. You're gonna learn from your mistakes. You're gonna do right and you're gonna do wrong. It's called develop.
Or the other side of that is you could permanently destroy the player like a Kevin Knox that has zero confidence anymore, and like he's just not going to have you play these young players too much, and it could destroy them especially if you don't have a good team around them.
Come on, man.
And Frank, you did it. You did the same thing to Frank. You put Frank in there in these awkward situations.
Yeah,
and Frank didn't turn out to be the guy that we wanted him to be because of these odd situations on a bad team.
Man, we were going through bad.
We're not a great team. Like,
yeah, if Frank
we were going through bad coaches at the time with Frank.
But I thought okay. All right.
Come on, what are we talking about? We had Hornacek, Eric Fisher. Come on, man, really?
I gotta agree with, like I said, I agree with what my man Morocco Joe said. I mean, because I wasn't looking at it till he presented it like that. This is not me. Like again, Tibbs was my first choice of coaches to be with this team, but I gotta agree with Morocco when you listen and think about the way he put it and look at it. It makes sense. May not like it, but it does make sense.
That's Andy. That's not even my take. That's Andy's take. Andy said it like 25, 30 minutes ago.
Well,
that ain't even mine. I stole it.
Now we're gonna go in the draft. Now we're gonna go in this draft. We ain't gonna know what to get out of this draft. A point guard or Bronson, because this guy didn't play McBride. Now you saw a little bit about McBride. He could shoot. He could dribble the ball or something. But you don't know what he got because he wasn't playing this season, man.
Right.
Now he had to go in the draft and pick. What are we going to get out of the draft?
What NBA team, CWC, what NBA team makes the playoffs, right? Makes the playoffs, goes undefeated in the preseason, and then says, hey, I know we have 2 Hall of Famers at point guard in Kemba Walker and Derrick Rose, but we're going to scrap that and play this second-round pick that we know nothing about.
It doesn't exist, man.
Yeah,
you play the young guys.
Once the Celtics or the Nets to get out the vets next season. Just
doing. They're playing young guys, man. Come on, man.
Yeah, so I would have been with you if you said, hey man, listen. I'd have been with you if you'd have just said, hey man, listen. This team is going nowhere with these vets. So at the beginning of the season, don't try to make the playoffs for a second year in a row. Just scrap the vets, trade them for something, and just play these young kids and let them develop the kids of the future. Just sing the Whitney Houston song, I believe the children of the future. Just do that, right?
When you lost, my bad.
No, go ahead, bro.
When you lose a 21-point lead or more, and you lost against Oklahoma, then you lost against Orlando, we wasn't going nowhere. That was the red flag right there. That's when you should have put in the young guys. Even Tim said it was his fault.
Right. Well, the Oklahoma City loss happened in the middle of the season, so you can't say what happens in October and relate it to something that happened in January.
You lose to Oklahoma.
It's two different things.
One thing, if I could just jump in here,
we were playing against G leaders.
Well, what would have occurred? What would have occurred if those? I know exactly the stretch you're talking about, where we were giving up 20-point leads over and over again. It was very frustrating. I watched every game.
In March,
I know exactly what you're talking. Yeah, it was awful. But what would have happened if you played Deuce 25 minutes and we lost by 30? What would have happened? Like the same situation is likely to occur. We still probably would have lost those games. Like we may not have lost. We may not have lost the lead of 20 points because we would never ever had the lead of 20 points. Like we still would have lost the game though. It's almost guaranteed we would have lost the game.
You don't know that though.
Kind of is what it is. The only thing that would have happened is the fans would have known more about the younger players. The front office and coaching, they know about these players. They're there every day. Regardless of whether we know what they're capable of doing, they have some idea of what they're capable of doing. So like the idea that we need to develop them during games, it's just not always the truth, man. Because the failure is bad. Like if you fail, that can really affect the way that your career goes. Like if you look at a lot of young players, I'll give you an example. Michael Carter-Williams comes out, wins Rookie of the Year, and then he gets put 38 minutes a game. He's playing 35 to 38 minutes a game, and he never is able to reach any sort of potential because he's just consistently playing 35 to 38 minutes a game for a whole season. And then he's just a backup player on a random team. He could have been a lot better than that. Like I think he could have, a lot more potential than that. But confidence gets knocked down. He can't make shots, playing too many games, playing too many minutes, wasn't protected at all by the coach. And now he's like going to play 12 minutes a game, if that, in the league. And he's a Rookie of the Year.
Some people got the dog in them, and some people don't have the dog. You gotta be a warrior. That's all about. You have to have heart.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
But every player that we drafted is not going to do that. So, like, we could develop them into serviceable role players, but we could develop them into serviceable role players, or we could just either have a star or throw them out. That's not a good strategy to have a star or throw them out. You can't just say this person's either going to be a superstar or we're just going to trash them. There are a lot of people like Kyle Korver that made millions of dollars and helped teams win championships. There are a lot of people that we need as role players on the team until we get a superstar to come here. Like, you have to develop role players too. And for you to put them out there and them to fail, and then we're just going to throw them away, that's a terrible way to develop the youth. Like that, that's terrible.
You have to play the game. You can't develop nobody on the bench. What are we talking about here?
So CWC, I understand what you're saying, bro, but there are other ways to develop. Like Emmanuel quickly got better by watching film. He said it. He attributed his turnaround to the way he watched film.
Yeah.
That has nothing to do with NBA minutes. Right? An NBA player said, I got better because I started watching film differently. An NBA player on your favorite team said that. That is a culture. That's part of the culture of the team that Tibbs brings. It's professionalism, going about your business, doing things like watching film. Like, that's important. That can make you better, especially from a point guard perspective. Like, that will make you better. And if your team doesn't have a culture of hard work and showing up to work on time, showing up to work, period, then you're not going to have players that are going to get better at the IQ side of things. Like, that's part of being a coach, is bringing that type of mentality, man.
And there's also a different way. It's
going to be a problem in New York.
Well, look, check it out. It's also a different way to develop, because, you know, we're saying develop. We're looking at it. Hey, they're developing the jump shot. They're developing their footwork. They're doing quick feet. They're doing this. But that's a damn good point that Morocco Joe brought up. Well, and Freezer brought up, talking about IQ and film. You can look at film and look at a player's tendency. Look at the mistakes that you make, and you can course correct that way. We're not talking about only just the physical, but the mental aspect of the game as well. And they can develop that way. And IQ, you have players that's doing this on their own.
Okay.
Then you have others that may need somebody to sit and do more with them. But to have a championship team, you still got to, like you said, you got to develop your role players. What championship team you seen that didn't have good role players?
Right.
You got to have a guy, the dirty work guys. You got some guy maybe average 2 points a game, but he's giving you 5 or 6 rebounds when he get in.
Right.
Man, we were developing these vets.
And that guy's also only getting 16 minutes a game. The guy that you're talking about is only getting 16 minutes a game, but the 16 minutes are useful. Like,
impactful 16 minutes.
Yeah, like it's important that we don't just say if this person is a young player and they're not a superstar that we're just going to give them all these minutes, and then if they don't produce, we're going to end up throwing them away. That is not a good strategy. Like that's not good long-term strategy, in my opinion. And that's what it seems like a lot of fans want to do is determine right out the rip if this player is a star or not, and if not, just throw him away and move on. Because that's not a good way to develop a team at all. Like,
right.
So what would you say? What would you say if Tibbs played McBride probably like next year, like 10 minutes? What would you say?
Well, I think it depends on the roster makeup. If we have a point guard that is better, then obviously the best player should play. You know, like it is still a team game. It's not Deuce McBride's game. It is the New York Knicks. The best player should play. But if Alec Burks is getting point guard minutes and there's a better point guard, that's a bad decision. I don't think that we had that. I don't think that we had that at the time that Alec Burks was getting those points. Like, I don't think – what's the alternative? You put Deuce McBride out there for 20 minutes. He plays terrible, loses confidence, takes him 4 years to recover from the confidence. He ends up leaving our team, goes to another team, and performs better there where he has a fresh start. That's what ends up happening over and over again with all the rookies we have is because we never re-sign them. We don't protect them at all. The media tears them apart. And I think maybe Tibbs is taking it a different direction. Maybe the front office is taking it a different direction, which it seems to be working. Grimes is a good player. If we played him 35 minutes a game, maybe he doesn't play as well. Maybe he gets overexposed, or maybe he does something terrible.
Maybe the league gets more film on him and understands what his deficiencies are before he can adjust. Before he can adjust. Yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
And to that question about what if McBride gets 10 minutes? I say this: what if your roster has Derrick Rose, Jalen Brunson at point guard? If McBride gets 10 minutes, I'd say he's lucky.
Absolutely. He shouldn't get 10 minutes at that point. If you have Brunson,
Rose, and Kemba, you have Brunson, Rose, and Kemba, and McBride gets 10 minutes, I'm saying McBride is fortunate.
Hey, we need to get rid of some events, man.
That's true.
We need to get rid of Rose, a well order, man.
Hey, I want to hear what Andy got to say.
I got a question to you, bro, because we have so many upcoming picks in the drafts, right? If you're gonna have that approach in 2 seasons, probably RJ should be out of the rotation because we're gonna have so many younger guys on the roster that you want to play straight up because they're younger.
Dead silence now. You see?
No, I ain't know Andy was finished with his take.
Okay. No. I was just saying that with your analogy that we should be playing younger guys, right? If we have like 2 picks this season, next season we have like 5 picks, and the next season we have like another 4 or whatever. So in 3 seasons, literally RJ shouldn't be getting minutes because you want to play only the young guys.
And RJ will be a vet. Yeah,
he'll be like 24, and he ain't gonna get minutes because we're gonna have 19-year-olds and 20-year-olds on the roster.
Well, RJ gonna be the captain on his team when that happens, though.
Yeah, but he's gonna be in the Julius Randle situation right now.
Randle might gonna be here.
Yeah, but he's gonna be the Julius Randle of those guys.
Yeah, based on what you said, 20. Based on what you said, 20 minutes ago.
If you better do his thing, he better work on his free throw. He better do all of that in the gym. Because every year somebody coming out that draft ready to eat. You know what I'm saying? You got to be on your game.
Yeah, you're right about that. Every year somebody comes out the draft ready to eat. That's 100% true. But you know what's not coming out the draft? Someone ready to win a championship.
A savior.
You know who is ready to win a championship? Players that are developed over an extended period of time, are still with the same team, and have a culture of winning and working hard and a teamwork mentality. And that is one thing that we currently have that we have not had since probably 2000. I don't even know, man. I got to look at that. I got to think about it for about an hour before I can figure out what team we've had where there's some semblance of unity as a team and not 15 individual players that are on their own track. Like, in my opinion, this is how you build a team. It's not going to happen overnight, and we can't just give the keys to someone who is going to have mistake after mistake after mistake. It's not a good idea to do that because it's not good for them. It's not good for the team. And it's not good for the veterans getting paid $12 million to sit on the bench and do nothing. They should play. They're getting paid $12 million a year. Like, they should play.
Right. Nah. They should just pack their bags and go on vacation. That's what they need to do.
What?
I mean, I hear you.
What the
And
hell
they pack
vacation
their
now?
bags. Come on, let's go. Across the street. Nah.
Yeah, they on
Like I
vacation
said,
now.
man, look at Orlando. Orlando getting young. They're gonna be good next year. And look at Detroit. They're
So
gonna
you
be good
saying?
next year.
So
I
you
mean, if
saying
we're talking about
look at
Orlando and
Orlando,
Detroit as an example for doing
then
anything
we need to
good
talk
in the
about something
NBA,
else.
this
Yeah,
is
we need to
not a
talk
good
about something else.
decision.
Yeah.
They are not a good example of what to
Orlando
do.
and Detroit pass us in the East.
Now, if you
Y'all better
said Phoenix or
y'all better be
Memphis
worried.
or
Yeah,
Y'all
you could have
better
Minnesota,
said Phoenix. I would have taken
if you
Memphis,
said
but
Phoenix or Minnesota or even
Nah.
New Orleans, then I could dig
Orlando
it.
No. You understand? If Orlando and Detroit be better than us in the East, you better be worried. That's all I'm saying.
What if we are better than them?
Okay, that's a good thing. We're going in the right direction.
But not for the argument you're making.
Well, what I'm saying, Detroit developing up their youth. Orlando, they developing their youth. They playing the rookie.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Everybody say they had to be confident, or you want to take their confidence away, man. That's a bunch of baloney, man. If you could ball, you could ball. You know what I mean? That's all I have to say, man.
Yeah, I'm just thinking that everybody, like all NBA
I know
rosters got
everybody's
talent.
different, but everybody had to have that dog when they step on that NBA level.
Yeah, I think that all the cats in the NBA have talent. Like you don't just make it to the NBA or the G League or major leagues around the world. You know what I'm saying? Like you don't play in Spain if you're not a super talented player, right?
It's all about how you use your talent and use the play on the court.
Yeah, the difference is with teams that are successful and teams that are not, is that you establish a culture of success, and you have a mantra. You know what I'm saying? For instance, the thing with Golden State is togetherness. Like in order to sign with the Golden State Warriors, you have to buy into playing unselfish, together basketball. In order to sign with the Miami Heat, you have to be tough, right? If you're not tough, Miami don't even want you, right? But what's the Knicks mantra? What's the Knicks culture?
Man, we're not even tough. We don't even have a coach.
Well, I'll just chime in on the Heat because the Heat is a great example. Do you think that Tyler Hero, when he came in the NBA, was tough? Because that hairdo made me think he was soft and he was trying to be a swagger rapper instead of trying to be an NBA hard-nosed player. And now, after multiple years being in that organization, look at what he has become. A great role player for a team that's probably going to be close to winning a championship this year. Like, that was a development piece right there. That's a perfect example of it. He didn't come in the league and play 35 minutes a game. He didn't play 30 minutes a game.
And they benched them. They were like, yo, if you don't do this thing, you are not a starter.
Bang.
Right?
And his position was wide open. It wasn't like there was a lot of players at his position, Tyler Hero. They needed that position filled. And he still sat on the bench. Like, it's part of the development process is realizing that you might have been the man in college, but this is different here. Like, you're not going to come out and be the man. And if you come out and you are terrible, it's going to destroy his confidence, bro. That's all I'm saying. All these people who say the young players need to play, it's not a wrong take. But, I mean, what do you expect them to gain from playing that they can't from sitting on the bench? There's not. I mean, they're in the NBA program, bro. They're in the NBA program. They're getting, development, whether we see it or not. You just might not be able to see it. We might not be able to see it as fans. But to tell me that IQ is not being developed, to tell me that Quentin Grimes is not being developed, tell me that Obi is – everybody was saying that my man Obi is a wash last year. Like, it was tons of people saying he was trash, he was a flop, he's just another dud. Like, that is not the case. And it's likely if he played 40 minutes, 30 minutes, 27 minutes a game, he may have been exposed and lost that confidence. And now you see him drop 40 points at the end of the year, ton of confidence, out there playing like an NBA player. Like,
what are you talking about? Obi
let me say this just real quick. Just so guys, I'm gonna wrap up right here, right? But I wanted to say Yeah, man. I know this, but we got a whole off season, bro. We got a whole off season. So what I was gonna say to everybody, thank you everybody for coming through. So I'm gonna try to continue to do these on Sundays. We'll see how these things go. Right. I enjoyed the conversation with everybody. I'm not for sure about the time. I wanted to get here at 8, but my puppy disagreed with me, so I got here a little bit later. But just want to say this to the question: will the NBA draft help fix what ails the Knicks? What I'm going to say to you guys is yes. Right. And so here is how this fixes the Knicks. Just to summarize, right? The deal is fixing the Knicks doesn't necessarily have to be the top shelf fix, right? You can fix things on the fringes of your roster that lighten the load on the guys that are already contributing with the heavy load. So if you go out and get guys, say for instance, if you go out and get 2 bigs in this draft, then you can move on from Nerlens Noel. You can re-sign Mitch, and then you can have a rotation of Mitch, Sims, and some young guys to make sure that Mitch stays healthy and that Jericho Sims gets pushed in practice so that he can develop. Because what people don't realize is Jericho Sims is not a pup. Jericho Sims and Mitchell Robinson are about the same age, right? So that's what I'm gonna say today. Hey, y'all, thank y'all for coming through. I appreciate y'all, man.
Be easy,
I'm gonna get out of here, man.
All right, M. Nice meeting you, M. Goldfinger, everybody.
All right,
Andy.
no.